So welcome back to Season 9 of Border Adventures, and here we are at the Swissport Arena, home to the Swiss Premier League champions of FC Luzern, who will be playing Champions League football this season. Except we won't be with them. We're just here to clear out the last of our things, and then we've got to jump on a flight and head off over to our new club. So it was a pretty busy off-season. We were offered jobs at Lille in France, at Saint-Etienne as well. We were turned down for a job in Belgium with AA Ghent, who had been taken over by a tycoon and were offering us money beyond our wildest dreams, but they went for another manager instead. And it looked like we were going to be staying at FC Luzern until we got an offer from a club in Germany. And so welcome to our new home. This is, of course, the city of Stuttgart, and we have landed on our feet. We've taken control of the Bundesliga club with the same name, and they have some pretty nice facilities. They have given us a budget, the likes of which we have never experienced at all. It's a million miles away from where we started at Shrewsbury in the Polish second division. So without further ado, let's take you over to the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Not bad, eh? Just the 60,000 capacity arena. You know, this club's got more than £100 million in the bank. They've let us spend a little bit of that as well. We'll show you our transfer dealings in a moment, but this is where we're going to be calling home for the foreseeable future. Now, I say the foreseeable future, we'd like this to be our last club on Border Adventures, although the chances of the sack with this one are quite high. We've had to tell a few tall tales in order to land this job. So, this is a club that finished 9th in the Bundesliga last season. In the interview, we have promised the board that we will be able to guide them to a top 4 finish, bypassing the Europa League and qualifying straight for the Champions League. We've told them that we wouldn't need the transfer budget they were initially offering in order to do that, and we'd be happy to work with a vastly reduced wage budget as well. So we were saying anything that needed to be said in that interview in order to get us a job with a Bundesliga club. Now, we couldn't have asked for a much better environment in which to have our first crack at a Bundesliga. Whether we've assembled a squad that's going to be good enough to finish 4th, I'm not quite so sure. Maybe, as this is a brand new club, we should introduce you to what we see as our starting 11. So without further ado, let's introduce you to the team. There's a few new signings in there, a couple of familiar faces, and some players that were already here that are quite frankly a gift from the FM gods. So this is going to be our goalkeeper for the season, 22-year-old Argentinian Juan Martin Cabrera. He's not a standout goalkeeper, probably not a top 4 Champions League goalie, but he was already at the club and we only had a certain amount of money to start rebuilding the squad, so we decided to make him the first choice keeper for the first season at least. Another player already at the club was Javier Gomez, who's going to be our first choice right back, a 23-year-old Colombian. Again, not standout attributes, probably not a top 4 Champions League player. But again, the fewer players you can replace when you first come into a club, the better it is for the dynamics. So Javier Gomez is going to be the first choice right back this season. And the first choice left back and captain of the team is going to be Lorit Halita, a Swiss player, the likes of which we were unable to have when we were at Luzern last season. He is branded as an explosive fullback. His physicals and his mentals are pretty good, bar for some aggression and bravery that's not quite as high as you'd like. And the technicals aren't brilliant. But again, he's another player that was already in the squad, so he's already part of the core social groups, so he's going to be our starting left back this season. Another player already at the club is going to be one of our starting centre-backs. It's the Frenchman Jeremy Couturier, who is pretty good in the air, although only 6'1" tall. He's got good pace, but his acceleration's not brilliant. But he's a pretty decent option. And again, another player that we were able to put into the first team so that we could spend our budget elsewhere, like the man who's going to be starting alongside him as one of our first-choice centre-halves. And that man is Daniel Gasopo, the Englishman who we had on loan at Luzern last season from Liverpool, who's branded as a wonder kid. He is tall, has a good jumping reach. His strength and his pace are not too bad either. He's fairly aggressive and brave, and at only 20 years old has got 2 to 3 years of stat development still left in him. So we bought Gasopo in for quite a bit of money, about 16 million in total, but he is going to be our starting centre-half. In front of the centre-halves, we needed a deep-lying playmaker that could fulfil that Finn Ott role. We're going for another Frenchman who was already at the club, Max Caqueret, who is a pretty decent option. His passing, technique, vision and first touch are all at 16, so he's going to be sitting deep in that deep-lying playmaker role and hopefully play those through balls the way that Ott used to do at Luzern. That's going to allow our striker to latch on and score goals. He's paid £65,000 a week, but is worth nearly £50 million. So we're expecting a lot of Caqueret this season. But we needed a tenacious ball-winning midfielder to play alongside him, and the man that we have bought in on loan from Manchester United is a player we know very well from our FC Luzern days. It's Peter Wright, the 22-year-old Englishman, the former wonder kid, who's got some pretty decent physical attributes. He's very, very brave, which is always good for a ball winner. Whether he can make the step up from Swiss Premier League to Bundesliga is yet to be determined, but we had a complete void of ball-winning midfielders in the squad when we took over. We had a glut of players that all wanted to be playmakers, so we've bought Wright in on loan, and he is going to be our other starting central midfielder. On the left wing, we've got yet another Frenchman, but one that threatens to be possibly the best in the squad. This is Lissandro Tramoni, who wants to be an inverted winger playing out on the right, but we're going to play him as a conventional wing player down on the left. He's pretty quick, he's agile, his dribbling, first touch, technique and vision are all very good as well. He almost signed for Lyon as they met his release clause, but he turned the move down and he is firmly installed as our starting left winger. Now over on the right wing, we were meant to have Ademola Lookman, but he left the club shortly before I arrived, so we have bought in our own player from Bayern Munich to replace him. He's a 19-year-old Uruguayan wonder kid. He's called Hernan Granoche. Again, he's pretty quick. His physicals are looking pretty nice, and he's got good dribbling and technique as well. So again, he wants to be an inverted winger over on the left-hand side, but is two-footed, so we're going to get him over on the right, playing as a conventional right winger. So on the wings, we're looking pretty solid, but in attacking midfield, we had to spend a little bit of money. And so this is our most expensive signing of the transfer window. This is Moriba, who has come in from Barcelona for £22 million to play as our number 10 in an attacking midfield role, but we like that media description of being a midfield orchestrator, and he's got some nice player traits as well, like dictating tempo, arriving late in the box, trying killer balls. So he's going to play right behind our striker. Technique is great, flair is great, first touch is lovely. He's going to run all day. His physicals across the board are pretty good, and he can hit a long shot as well. So the Spaniard Moriba is going to be our starter in this attacking midfield position, and hopefully he's going to be providing the ammunition for our new starting striker. So the man we wanted to lead the line for us was, of course, Garrincha, who we were going to bring in from Luzern. We had an £18 million bid accepted for him, but Garrincha wouldn't even negotiate a contract with us. Obviously, Luzern could offer him Champions League football, and we had no European football at all. But also because we bought him in during the January transfer window, he'd only been at Luzern for 5 months, and he did not want to negotiate with us. I think we might be going back calling for him in the summer, but we needed a number 9 to lead the line when Garrincha turned us down, and the man that we went for is our old friend Elliot Petrelli. So we managed to get Petrelli through the door for just £15 million. Luzern sold him to Inter for 17.25 a year ago. He got plenty of game time out in Italy, but we were able to woo him back to reunite with us, and he's got great long shots and finishing. His acceleration is pretty good. He's decent in the air as well, so perhaps he's not quite a Garrincha, but he's certainly a player that we know has got goals in him, and he's going to be leading the line for us as our first choice striker. And so we're going to kick our Bundesliga campaign off today with a game away at Werder Bremen. And we've got quite a few injuries and suspensions for today's game, as well as you can probably see. So we're not going to be able to field our first choice goalkeeper. We're going to have to go with our backup. Our captain and starting left back is out as well. So we're going to have to bring in a backup who's another familiar face. Albert Villa, not signed by me, but a player we had on loan for 2 seasons at Luzern, who'd already signed for Stuttgart on a Bosman free transfer, and he's going to come in and be our left back today. We're also without our right winger, who's picked up an injury as well. Otherwise, it's pretty much the team that we showed you, and we are going to get them out to take on Werder Bremen and see how we do. Now, we could do with getting off to a decent start because we've promised Champions League football, and I've had a look at the other squads, and I'm not sure Champions League football is particularly within our grasp. We're going to have to upset the odds a little bit. Let's ask them to go out and impress me, and we will see how we get on. This is a little bit of a shot into the unknown, really. We've had a pretty decent pre-season. We've already won our first German Cup game to progress in that competition, although we got a pretty tough draw in the second round with an away tie at Kaiserslautern, and it looks that just in the second minute of this game we are off and underway, and we've had a shot already. There's our little French left winger. He could be our star player, by the way, and we're underway with highlight number 2. Is that disallowed? I think it is. We're on the referee. Looks like maybe a bit of pushing that time, but tell you what, this is quite a strong start. What are we saying? Pushing? Not offside, is it? Handball. Didn't see that myself, but hey, strong start. Now we've got a bit of defending to do. God, this has been a quick opening 10 minutes. So Werder Bremen are predicted to finish a little bit below us in the table, but with all of our transfer business, the media are only predicting us to finish 9th. We're a goal down already. Henry and Onyekuru. We're a goal down already. We're predicted to finish 9th. We've told the board we're getting in the top 4. The sack could loom with this one pretty early. But we had to tell a few porcupines to get ourselves a job in the Bundesliga. This is what the whole save has been leading up to. I fear could be short-lived. We are going to have to yell, demand more at the boys. We've got the ball on our own goal line. It's Villa, who, well, we weren't particularly happy with as a player in the Swiss Premier League, in the German Bundesliga. No. And our backup goalie's not the best either, but we only had a budget of about 30 million to spend. And when you're trying to sign pretty decent players, that doesn't get you a lot. We lost a couple of players as well because clubs met their release clauses. So we've strengthened a bit. It's a good effort. That's Della Varga, who's come in as our backup right winger today. We've strengthened a little bit, but I don't think we're anywhere near finishing 4th in the table. God, Garrincha was the man we really wanted. Not knocking Petrelli. Garrincha was the one we wanted. I reckon he could score goals at this level. But he wanted to stay in Switzerland and experience a bit of Champions League football, and you probably can't blame him for that when you look at how we have started today. So after a really good opening 10, well, that has not been the best first half. We're sticking with the same formation we played in Switzerland with Luzern. Couple of little tweaks, but it's pretty much the same setup. Whether it will translate to working in Germany, I don't know. And it's certainly not working against Werder Bremen today. They are breaking on us. Justin. There you go. Managed to dispossess him. What is Villa up to? Okay, we got the ball. We've gone long. We're in. This left winger, Tramoni, he is good. Not a great finisher on that occasion, but he has got the attributes. We are not doing an awful lot. We're saying get creative. That's helped with the body language. It's not helped with getting us a goal. And we're going to have to go attacking. And I think we're going to have to get a second striker on in a moment. Headed it clear, but we have not got possession of the ball. We've got two men running on top of each other. I think Werder Bremen could be starting in the opening weekend of the Bundesliga season with a victory. And we won't even have a point. We won't even have a goal unless we can do something in this final 15 minutes. We're not closing down particularly quick either. We're just trotting around a little bit. They've got in round the back. I think this is their fullback. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. We have got some work to do. Goalie's made a good save. Goalie's made a good save. He's tied for that one as well. We're up against it a little bit here, aren't we? Okay, we need to make some changes. So that was a short introduction for Mariba, but he is off, having not played very well. And we're going with two up front, and they're both going to be advanced forwards. We're going to try and play wider and with more tempo. See if that can drag us back in. I don't think the pressure's going to be on for the first 2 or 3 months of the season. I don't think we're getting sacked before Christmas. Unless things go really badly. Maybe once we've got a few more of those first choice players in, things will be better. But we've lost the opening game of the season 1-0. That was a pretty turgid affair. And after looking pretty good in that very opening exchange, we offered absolutely nothing. So I think we've got a little bit of settling to do. We've got some new boys that need to learn the language. We've got some players that need to adapt to the hierarchical structure of the squad. We're bedding in the new tactic, but it don't get any easier because up in our next game, we are at home to FC Bayern, and then we've got RB Leipzig after that as well. So the tough games are going to be coming thick and fast. But welcome to our new home. Blink and you might miss it, but we will be back very soon to show you the next installment of our Stuttgart adventure. Thank you for everybody who's been watching. If you want links to other great creators, you know to check out the description down below. And we're going to see you very soon as we're trying to cling on to a new job in Border Adventures.